He asked me, "Why do I keep repeating these mistakes? I don't want to. I understand everything, music. But in the moment, I just can't stop myself." Have you ever seen yourself in that story? Those seemingly small emotions, anger, disappointment, anxiety, and hurt keep recurring, quietly wearing away your patience and your faith in yourself. You know you should restrain yourself, stay calm. But all the theory goes out the window when emotions crash over you like a storm. Stoicism doesn't ask you to suppress your emotions, nor does it teach you to become some Iron Man untouched by feeling. Stoicism tells you, look your emotions in the eye. Observe them, understand them, and from there, choose your response. As the philosopher Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's the starting point of all true freedom and power. My friend started learning to master his emotions, not with grand methods, but by simply pausing for a beat before reacting. He began to ask himself a question whenever he felt angry, disappointed, or worried. Is this emotion actually helpful to me? At first, it was very difficult to overcome his old habits of losing his temper that ran deep. But gradually just asking the question, music, was enough to make him stop, breathe more slowly, and not immediately act on his feelings. Real freedom doesn't come from controlling everything around you. It comes from controlling yourself, mastering your emotions, and not letting them drive your actions and your life. Alone with no music, one left to blame. You are forced to look back at yourself. That's why so many people fear being alone, because they must face their true feelings, admit their weaknesses, old wounds, and the impulsive moments that have damaged what they valued most. We all have moments where we want to blame circumstances, other people, or pressure. But it's in the moment you pause, look straight at your emotional storm and ask yourself, is it necessary to get angry, anxious, or sad like this? That's when you take back control. That's when you grow. My friend didn't change overnight. Some days he repeated the same mistakes, still lost his temper, still felt disappointed, still wanted to run away from real emotions. But he no longer let them decide everything. He started journaling, writing every evening about what made him music upset, what went out of control, and what he managed to restrain. Through every line he realized that each music time he paused, each time he asked himself, was a time he chose freedom instead of slavery to his emotions. That's silent progress only the patient can see. You might think mastering emotions is out of reach only for philosophers, not ordinary people. But the truth is, every long-term success from career to family to health and relationships begins with a stable inner life. Someone who masters their emotions won't be swept away by criticism, won't be shaken by failure, won't fear rejection, won't explode over sudden trouble. That's a quiet power everyone needs, especially in a world as turbulent and music fast-changing as today. If you still struggle with your emotions, start with the smallest thing. Pause, breathe deeply, observe your emotions. Ask yourself, does this really help? If the answer is no, let music pass like a cloud. Don't cling. If it's yes, use it to act wisely. With enough practice, you'll be surprised at the changes in yourself. Calmer, gentler, and most importantly, freer. Once you've mastered your inner world, all the turbulence outside becomes music, just small ripples on a still lake. You won't be easily hurt by words, glances, or rejection. You won't carry the burden of regrets or pointless anger. Mastering emotions is a lifelong journey, but as long as you start today, music, just a little each day, you're already ahead of most people, music, who keep chasing their emotions without ever knowing who they are. Before thinking of changing or mastering the outside world, stop, listen, and master your inner world. That's the only way to live strong, free, and never feel helpless in any situation. True freedom starts from within. No one can take away your peace unless you allow it. Before mastering the world, master your emotions. That is the only way to live fully, maturely, music, and with real strength. Silence is where your strength begins. 3. Silence is where your strength begins. Silence is not running away from the world. It is returning to yourself in a society flooded with noise from phone notifications, endless news streams, half-hearted conversations, and countless unspoken expectations. Silence has become a luxury. Yet, music is precisely there where you no longer have to put on a mask, no longer swept up in the noisy whirlwind of daily life, that you truly feel your inner strength. Silence music is a source of great strength. Those are the words of Lassu, founder of Taoism. But that spirit is deeply woven into the Stoic philosophers' music as a way of life and an unchanging principle of self-mastery. If you want to begin again to build solid inner strength, don't look outside. Music start with silence. I remember reading about Nikola Tesla, music a great inventor, a deeply introverted scientist who cherished silence. He was not a man of crowds. For years, Tesla lived alone in laboratories and small hotels in New York, working almost in total silence. It wasn't just a personal preference. It reflected his belief that only in quiet could one hear the deepest voice of intelligence, emotion, and real passion. If you have ever tried sitting quietly by yourself, no phone, no music, no one beside you, you know how strange that feeling music is. At first, you feel empty. Your mind tries to fill that space with familiar things, messages, music, emails, a short video, the noise of the TV. You feel restless, music uneasy, as if you're missing something important. But if you're patient and let the music silence seep into each breath, you'll start to hear your own voice, hidden desires, repressed fears, music and longings you thought you had forgotten. Tesla's story is not unique. Many scientists, writers, and philosophers choose silence as the foundation for building inner strength. If you've read about Albert Einstein, you know he spent hours walking alone around Lake Geneva, not for exercise, but to let his mind drift in silence, freely connecting ideas, observing emotions, and scattered thoughts that daily life easily drowns out. It was also during those quiet times that Einstein solved the hardest music physics problems, not in crowded meeting rooms, but in his own absolute silence. You may be thinking, but I'm not a genius. I can't spend my days alone just to think. But the power of silence is not just for geniuses. It's for anyone who wants to grow, control their life, know who they are, and create true value. Silence doesn't mean disconnecting from the world. It's when music, you connect most deeply with yourself. Silence is where everything begins. In stillness, you see more clearly which old habits have led you where, which true values you've dropped along the way, and what you really want for yourself. Stillness lets you realize that often what you need is not another new relationship or achievement, but a deep, music enough pause to restore your energy, think more clearly, music, and sort things out inside. Many people fear silence because in that quiet, they're forced to face themselves. There's no one to blame, no noise to hide their insecurities, music, no busy work to dodge old pain. In silence, the truth about yourself becomes music clearest. The things you're running from, the relationships that no longer matter, the dreams left unfulfilled, the habits quietly sabotaging you every day. Music. That truth can feel unsettling, but only from there can you music find the courage to change. The more people around you, the harder it is to hear your music real voice. The more you chase flashy things, the further you drift from your inner music strength. That's why the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once reminded, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Listening music isn't just about hearing others. It's first about listening to yourself, to your feelings, thoughts, forgotten fears, and longings. Silence is also a test, music, of maturity. The strong are not those who always have to prove, debate, or justify themselves. The strong are those who dare to be quiet when music needed, who stay calm when others explode, who step back to observe before acting. In that silence, you build confidence, courage, and resilience from within. That's a power no words or impulsive acts can bring. If life feels too noisy, too rushed, stop. Spend at least 10 minutes each day doing music nothing. Just sit quietly and observe yourself. Don't rush to find answers. Don't force yourself to think up something new. Just music, be silent. Feel your breath. Let your thoughts drift by. You'll feel a small peace seep into every cell, every dark corner inside you. When you're strong enough inside, you won't fear losing someone, won't worry about facing music hardship, won't panic when the world changes. You'll be confident in your decisions, in your values, in your chosen path. Remember, every great success is conceived in silence. Music. Nikola Tesla created inventions that changed humanity, not in noise, but in the long quiet nights alone with his currents, his sketches, his untried thoughts. If Tesla could find strength in silence, you can too. Music. No matter who you are, where you are, or what you're facing, silence is where music you check in with yourself. What frightens you? What's holding you back? What you truly crave? In silence, you mature, heal, and rebuild yourself. Once you have that foundation, no outside storm can shake you.